G'day mate and welcome to Capital Industry with me, JD. Today's video is going to be another blueprint and build video because I was asked repeatedly, can I put together some sort of blueprint for construction parts 1 and 2 and 3 and probably even throw in some 4s? And I'm like, I could do that in my sleep. But what I really want to do is I want to go above and beyond. I want to do something a little bit more useful, something that scales with technology, and also, as we have most of the components here, we might as well include maintenance and recycling. And well, if we're going to have a maintenance depot 1, we should probably do a maintenance depot 2 because we need the same requirements for, well, construction parts 4. So today we're going to be talking about this particular blueprint that does, well, everything from electronics 1 and 2 and mechanical parts with construction parts 1, 2, 3, and 4, and also make sure that each system feeds in the next system. But before we get to that, I need to ask a very important question, and that is, can I borrow a like? I just like to borrow a like. You like blueprints, and I'd like to borrow a like. It's a simple trade. If you're not happy with the blueprint, you're not happy with the video, by all means, you can have your like back. And at the same time, I'm going to ask you, it's a quick video. Maybe you should click the subscribe button if you haven't already. And with that out of the way, we're going to, well, delete everything and start from scratch. All right, with a clear spot to build, we're going to start with, well, blueprints, obviously. We're going to go into update 1 and my construction part build. So, first thing is we need construction parts 1 and 2. And the reason we need 1 and 2 is we research blueprints right here. And then at roughly about the same tech, you get construction parts 2. So there's very little point me putting together a blueprint for construction parts 1 when you don't have blueprint technology. And then if I'm putting together a blueprint, we might as well include construction parts 2. So we're going to put down this blueprint, and we're going to put this, actually, let's try and line up some squares. Let's try and put you, this extends both left and right. So we're going to go with, I'm feeling lucky, and we're going to go there. All right, first thing we're going to do is we're going to build everything. Now, you might notice everything is paused, and the reason everything is paused is, well, once you have the ability to put it down, build it, and then turn things on and off if and as required. So, with that out of the way, we're going to unpause everything. Okay, there's a truck in the way. All right, unpause everything, please. Everything, cool. You and you and you. All right, so we're going to have, we're going to have a couple of boxes. Okay, first off, we have electronics. Electronics, yes. Reason we have electronics is we get here. We get the manual assembly, okay, which is going to cost us construction parts 1. With the assembly electric, this one's going to cost us construction parts 2. Now, this is one you definitely want to have upgraded reasonably quickly because the assembly electric, at least when making electronics, is 3 times as fast. So this is definitely something I suggest you get upgraded fairly quickly, hence why this happens to be the only electric assembler in this whole build. But of course, after you have, well, construction part 1 and 2 and everything else, you're going to research, not long thereafter, you're going to research belts. So we're going to jump in our blueprints and we're going to get the belts. Now, if I dump the belt blueprint directly on top, this is how they're all designed. You can dump one blueprint directly on top of the last blueprint. We're going to see we've just automated everything with a bunch of belts. Now, of course, these will require that you have construction parts 2 up and running, also rubber and a couple of other things. This is one of the reasons everything goes in pause, so you can put in all the belts and then build them as required. You don't need to get them all built at once. You can build them bit by bit. Can we just get everybody out of the way, please? All right, with that done, we're going to notice that we have rubber in here. We're going to have copper in here eventually. We're going to have iron coming in here to make our mechanical parts, which are going to come out into this box. We're going to talk about the rest of that box in a second. We're going to have iron. We're going to have both bricks and concrete slabs because it's designed to work with both, and wood to make construction parts 1. So with that done, we should have electronics flowing out and into this box. We also should have mechanical parts flowing into this box. Now, mechanical parts only go into, well, 3 things. They go into maintenance, they go into science, they go into vehicle parts. Well, that's really about it. They also go into maintenance 2, and eventually they'll go into maintenance 3, but realistically, you don't need them in a vast quantity, but you do need to have a constant supply of them for your maintenance. The other thing I do want to point out is, well, especially when it comes to, what are we missing? We're missing iron, which is showing up right now. Especially when it comes to stuff like construction parts, what happens is all these builds, and they're all designed this way, where they feed into the first couple of machines. And then as they come along, they hit this connector. This connector is going to split them in two different ways. There's a 50-50 split. One is going to come into this box, which we can store them. And the other one is going to run them into this belt into the next upgrade. Can you go away as well? Cool. So we're going to see some construction parts are going to go this way, and the rest are going to go this way. And that means this box is here for storage. This box is a spare box. It's a spare box for two reasons. One, it provides somewhere for the trucks to put stuff when you go and deconstruct things. Also, it's designed as a placeholder because eventually you're going to get large storage. And large storage is the size of 4 normal storages. So the idea is that in the future, you can definitely get this this upgraded and emptied out and upgrade them to a large storage. Large storage is going to hold a lot more material than 4 small ones, hence why I've intentionally made that room. Also, you're going to notice this belt is intentionally paused. It is intentionally paused because this is your loop back belt. So straight away, as I said, 50% of your construction parts are going to go from 1 to 2s. But should you suddenly have a burst for 2s, you need a whole bunch of 2s and you want them running flat out, and you have multiple machines here. We don't yet, but we will in the future. What we can do is we can unpause the loop back belt. Okay, if we unpause the loop back belt, which... oh, I paused the box. Bad jetting. Okay, if we unpause the loop back belt, it means that every single construction part 1 is going to flow down here and flow into this machine. And that's what the loop back belts are there for. They're designed for if you suddenly need a burst of construction parts, you can unpause the belt and have a burst of construction parts go into the next tier. Normally, we're going to leave them paused. Can you guys get out of the way? Otherwise, we're going to end up the next part of the build. All right, next part of the build is the next blueprint, which is going to be the maintenance depots. So, oh, actually, we should talk about research. So, after researching belts, the next thing we're going to unlock, not that far afterwards, is the maintenance depot. The proper maintenance depot, not the basic little depot, which we've already belt fed with both our electronics and our mechanical parts, but the proper one. So, of course, we have an upgraded blueprint. And again, we're just going to place this directly over the top of the existing blueprint, and we'll see the 2 new buildings go in. And you're going to want to have these, well, at least one of these built, or the primary one, or the first one upgraded reasonably quickly, because this does 6 and 3 for 105. This does 24, so 4 times as much. 12, 4 times as much. But the maintenance goes from 105 to 480. So it's slightly more efficient. Also, if you already happen to have the recyclables recipe researched, it turns on the recyclables recipe. If not, it just turns on the normal recipe, and then by all means, after you get the recyclable tech, you can turn that one on as well. So that gets us to, well, construction part 1, 2, and 3, well, construction parts 1, 2, and maintenance has all been automated. Our next step from there is to jump to construction parts 3, which means I need to line up the blueprint once again, and that's not lined up. Line up the blueprint once again and dump this on top. Now, again, we're going to stop and talk about research really quickly. We're up to here now, okay? So we've unlocked the electric assembly machine, which again is going to need those construction parts 3, which we've just unlocked. So there's no point in me giving you a blueprint that requires you to make construction part 3 with an item. Make construction part 3 in a building that requires you to have construction part 3 to actually build the building. See? So we'll notice these go in at the lower tier. So these are just electric, electric, and electric, and electric. So they're of the lower tier, but again, you have access to that technology. You can now upgrade it. Can I get you recovered, please? And once again, we're just going to uni build everything. So we've added in an extra machine for mechanical parts because we're going to be using a certain amount of it for maintenance. Also, we've added in an extra construction part 1 and 2 and 3. And again, the idea is, oh, I need you to bring in steel, please. Unpause. Cool. The idea is that as you increase your levels of construction parts, you're going to need more supply of the previous tiers, because as we can see, we have 12 coming out of here, which then 12 of those get used to turn to 6, and 6 of those get turned to 3. So basically, this machine's running this machine's running this machine. And that's how construction parts work. They're constantly being upgraded, and therefore you're constantly needing supply of the previous tier. But this will bring out our construction part 3, which again, we have that room being pre-allocated for the larger storages. And if you're not happy with, trying to Not having enough storage right now, you can by all means just remove the belts and add in the storage right now, and this way everything goes down in a pause mode, so you can then make your decisions as to what you want to do before you actually build it yourself. All right, finally, now we have construction part 3. We again go into the research. Our next unlock is going to be for construction part 4, which requires us to have electronics 2, which requires us to have electronics 2 actually automated. So we're going to go back into the blueprints, and there is a whole electronics 2 build, which we're going to paste right here. And when this one goes in, we're going to notice we're going to start using the electric assembly 2, which costs the construction part 3, because we've now got access to those and probably had access to them for a little while. Also, one of the main reasons for this is you need electronics 1 to make electronics 2. Can you be recovered, please? All right, same story. We're just going to spend Unity to get this built. And can I unpause you, and you? Cool. And put in some requests. Can we bring in everything? So we're going to, at this end, we're going to make, well, copper, plastic, and also glass. Well, we're going to bring in copper, plastic, and glass, which will make PCBs. And PCBs are going to pass through on these 2 tiny little belts and into the build right in front. The build right in front is going to take the electronics, which have come out of this electronics chest and are flowing this way, just waiting for the PCBs and the poly to show up. We'll talk about poly in just a second, and pop into these machines to finally make our electronics 2. So again, I can unpause these. They can start fitting in one item. What are we waiting on? We're waiting on the plastic. Come on, trucks, bring in our plastic. All right, that'll give us electronics 2. But of course, we're not really doing anything with electronics 2 just yet because, well, we don't have a need to. Here's our plastic. You could just put it in the box rather than delivering it directly to the machine. That'd be helpful. Super helpful. No, everybody's bringing everything except what we're asking for. Plastic? Anybody? Direct delivery of plastic. And the funny thing is, this is priority 9 and that's priority 10. You guys suck. Okay, but we should have... Oh, I've already seen some PCBs have gone in. We need poly as well. Okay, we've got some PCBs going in at least. Poly is, I'm guessing, on its way, or maybe there's none left in the shipyard. I don't know. But this is going to give us electronics 2, in theory. It's glass. No, I'm guessing we're out. It's all right. I've just have some electronics 2 being delivered by truck because it's a test map. Test maps are weird. They have all sorts of things. All right. So this will get us up to having poly. Okay. So somebody finally did show up with poly. Okay. All right. Point proven. So we're going to have PCBs come into this middle belt, or the bottom belt, and slide into both of these builds. This is a perfect ratio, so it's 2 of these to 4 of these guys, which is going to give you 6, 12, 24 electronics 2 per minute. Okay. From there, we're going to go back into the blueprints, and our next blueprint is going to be construction path 4, which is basically the whole blueprint. Whole blueprint, start to end, and all we need to do is line up our buildings. And once everything's lined up, we can just click go. And that should put in everything. So we're going to use Unity to build everything. We're going to find there's more machines making mechanical parts because we've just added maintenance 2 to our list. Also more machines making, well, constructions part 1 to make 2s, to make 3s, and finally make 4s. Also, we're going to notice the electronics 2 that we just made, and now going to travel over here on this belt and pop in. There we go. We're now flowing out this way. Cool. Pop into this connector, which is then going to flow down in here, which is going to be our 2 requirements. Our 2 requirements being construction part 3 and electronics 3 to make construction parts 4. Do want to mention very quickly, this is 3, 6, 9, 12 that you're being used. We're making twice that amount. So we're only making 24 total. We're going to use 12 of it if you guys are running this at full speed. In saying that, like I did say, now we're further up the tech tree, and we've already unlocked large storage back here. You probably want to change this over to big boy storage. I like big boy storage. It's going to hold an awful lot more. As it is, very quickly, these guys hold... Okay, I can't line things up, but that's besides the point. 4 of these together hold 180, doubled, 360, doubled again, 720. If we use the next level storage, 1, 2, 3, and 4, you hold 360, 720, 1440, whereas the big boy storage holds 2160. So it's like 500 extra storage for the exact same footprint as the previous ones. And all the inputs and the outputs line up perfectly, so it's just a lot more storage for the same amount of space. But this is going to give us construction part 4. On top of that, our electronics that already popped in here, electronics 2 rather, also pop into here, which is our maintenance depot Mark 2, which of course we can unpause and then start making maintenance 2 at the same time. We also, one of the earlier blueprints, I think it was construction part 3. Yeah, construction part 3. Puts in this belt here. Okay, this belt here that automatically has all the connectors placed on it. These belts are not meant to have any items on there. They're literally there to make sure those connectors spawn in straight away, even if you don't have recycling unlocked. The idea being that, well, the belt's already there and placed in, so when you start making maintenance 1 and 2 and turn on the recyclables recipe, this becomes your output for your recyclables. So this becomes your whole blueprint for construction part 1, 2, 3, and 4. Also electronics 1 to feed in electronics 2, and plenty of mechanical parts to run all your maintenance, all in one nice simple blueprint. And you should have enough here to really get you from, well, early game into very, very late game. If you need more production, the good news is most of these items, we can just copy the last 2 and paste over the last build. Okay, that failed. Why did you fail? Copy you and you. Oh, because it might be the wrong tier machine. Let's try this one instead. Copy you and you. Okay, and then paste that over the top. There we go. And we can just increase this build by 1 extra machine. Obviously, in the case of electronics 2, it needs to also come with. Oh, because I didn't tear off the end. Okay, there we go. It also needs to come with an extra PCB machine, which needs to plug into the one in front, and then you gotta line up perfectly. Okay, you go to there as well, and build. As we can see, most of these are very, very expendable in that way. I'm still not sure why. Oh, because they're on different sides. That's all right. Again, same story. Like, you need more mechanical parts. Look, more mechanical parts. Very, very quickly to spread out and expand this blueprint. Let's just quickly remove all that garbage that I added on the end, because lots of people ask me, what is the size of the blueprint? The size of the blueprint is 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 31. Let's go with 31. 31, call it 32 for safe numbers, and 4, 8, 9 total. But don't forget to start with, you're only building, well, that part of the blueprint. So there's a large part of it you're not building till later on. A lot of it goes on the left-hand side, a little bit on the right-hand side. As long as you leave yourself a little bit of space around the outside, you can definitely expand this out. Now, I do want to mention these feed-in boxes are just there for feeding in. Obviously, mechanical parts you want to swap over to steel, and as we can see, the last couple of items that went in are already set up with steel smelting. Even though it's originally got an iron box feeding it, all you got to do is swap this over to steel as soon as you unlock the steel recipe, and you have a solid source of steel. The other thing I need to mention is silicon poly. I said we'd talk about that in a second, because today's video is going to be 2 separate blueprints. I'm publishing both at the same time. Again, you'll find my blueprints over on my Discord server. This one being upgradable smelters. So we'll start right here with iron. Okay, this is an iron smelter. It's nothing fancy. Okay, iron is pretty self-explanatory. It's nice, it's easy, it goes together. We're just going to have coal and iron coming on 2 of the belts. You know, molten iron comes down here, runs through some metal casters out to a box. It's not rocket science, but what does make these blueprints interesting is I can overlap these by a single tile and click OK and build. And we're going to say that this, oh, it didn't do it. It didn't do it. Okay, it needs to be yelled at. That's the wrong tile, doesn't matter. Recover, and recover. We're gonna see connectors automatically go in, so they share the slag line. Also, they're gonna share the molten channel line. At least they should. Obviously, I need to go yell at the original blueprint one more time. But we also have the exact same for our advanced iron. So again, we have I should just build it. We're gonna have Iron crushed limestone coal, so that's going to be iron crushed coal limestone, and then all the slag output is shared, leaving at the top. And then these are metal casters Mark II. And if we look at blueprint wise, and I take the Mark II and put it over the Mark I, we can see that everything just gets upgraded in place. And this is why I make these blueprints, to make sure they're upgradable, because after that we go to the Mark III, and the Mark III is the one with the arc furnace. And if we just take you and put you there, which of course, okay, if I need to go yell at that one item and build you, we're going to find that this is a in-place upgrade from the previous one. So again, goes in with the arc furnaces. Because we've now got arc furnaces, we have water in one end, water in the back and steam in the front, along with exhaust recycling, and it's all designed that you can upgrade these blueprints in place. And of course, there is the iron build, the copper build. Can I just line this up somewhere? Cool. Copper, much the same. We have glass. Glass is a little bit unique in the fact that, let's build glass here. Glass is a little bit unique in the fact that it comes with the glass mixers already built in, along with a balancer, because at this point you have recyclable technology unlocked. So you're going to want to be able to feed broken glass into these machines, hence it comes with the broken glass recipe already enabled. Also, to start with, it's a 1-to-1, and then glass Mark II, if I put that right beside, we can see that it's slightly different, as in this guy gets upgraded to the next tier, and then we have a little connecting molten channel, because you now output 48 molten glass, and we only need 24 to run both these machines, which means this one gets turned off, saving you 8 workers, because this one needs 18. Also, it has extra mixers at the back that are not... The second mixer is not required, hence it's in the paused mode. The idea is that if you build 4 glass furnaces, you can then only put in 2 mixers at the first one and then share that material along. I do want to mention very quickly, when all these blueprints are done with tier 1 belts, and it's up to you to double check belt speed and whether they need to be upgraded or not. But the main reason that the glass is unique is, well, the Glassmaker Mark II. The Glassmaker Mark II is much longer than the Glassmaker Mark I, hence we have all this dead space here, because, well, that gets upgraded later into the Glassmaker Mark II. And the idea of the blueprint is you can just remove everything in the front. There to there. Thank you. Remove all that. And where are we? Glass Mark III. And paste that right over the top. And we're good to go. And it just fits in beautifully. Probably helps if I rebuild those 2 belts. Fits in beautifully, and it's designed to be upgradable. Of course, the arc furnace is there as well. We also have silicon. Can I put a silicon Mark I here with a silicon Mark II right beside it? And again, same story. The silicon smelter comes with a whole lot of dead space, and that dead space is there because eventually you can upgrade to the Mark II version, at which point, you know, you're going to need that dead space to fit in the extra silicon reactors. Finally, we should add steel to our list, because this is a complete blueprint set. Running out of free space. Can I do a steel with a steel and our third steel? Cool. And then upgrade everything. So this is your basic furnace with your oxygen furnace with your cool casters, and of course oxygen on site. We have the blast furnace Mark II with the oxygen furnace Mark II with the cool caster Mark II, and of course oxygen on site. And then we have the same in the arc furnace version. And again, all these blueprints, all of them are made with resources coming in from one direction and the waste going out in the same direction. So whether you put them all one way or you end up flipping them all because you don't want to go left to right, you want to go right to left, up to you. But they should all be able to go down side by side by side. And you can do all your iron steel smelting on one side of the base, or your copper smelting on the other side of the base with your glass and poly. I don't know where you put poly, probably near glass and copper, because poly, glass, and copper. Copper. Oh, it's the advanced furnace. The advanced furnace all need sand, so these sort of stick to one side of the base. Anyway, these are the full set of blueprints. They're all available on my Discord server if you want to check them out. Again, the only thing I ask is, 1, can I borrow a like? 2, click the subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this. We're going to be covering nuclear in the not too distant future. Lastly, once you pop on Discord, can you just do me a favor and say hi? There's lots of other wonderful wonderful users on our Discord server that are providing help to one another, asking questions, feedback on different blueprints, their own bases, their own suggestions on what they're up to and what they should do next. Anyway, with all that said and done, I'm going to leave this video here. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Do hope you've enjoyed, and I will see you in the very next video. All right, bye.